Hi, it's Anne, and we are getting ready for the holidays. Look what our project is today. Isn't it just beautiful? Yes, it's a hanging ornament that you can put on your Christmas tree or hang anywhere you like. It's so pretty. It's easy to make. It looks really complicated, but it's really easy to make, and it just takes a little bit of patience and a little bit of glue and some paper strips. So let's go ahead and get started on it because I'm really excited for you to see this. I love the look of this one that's just sort of all book page. I think it looks really delicate and pure. But because there is a difference in the front and back of this paper, for the first one, I think I'm going to put some distress ink on this book page, and then you can kind of get a sense of how the paper twists. So I hate to even take this one out of your sight because it's just so pretty, but I'm going to set it over here because I don't want to accidentally crush it. And let's go ahead and put some antiquing on this page, and then we can kind of get a sense of the front and back. And then when you go and make your own, because I know you're going to want to. Oh, I'm getting a little too enthusiastic. I need to work in the middle and work my way out to the edge here so I don't accidentally fold my paper strips. Anyway, when I know you're going to want to do this, so you're going to have a real sense of it being of the front and the back of the paper, and then you might want to choose some other kinds of paper to do it with. I just love, for as an homage to our junk journal sensibilities, using book page, but I have done several others using lightweight scrapbook paper as well. So I'm going to show you all of those before we finish today. This is the next thing I'm going to do once I have all this distressing done is cut it. This is a 6-inch square, and that is important. And if you decide to use a little bit of lightweight scrapbook paper, you can use some from one of those 6-inch pads that, yes, we all have around. Okay, I don't need to get this too dark. I could have used coffee dye paper, but this is from an old art history book that I use a lot. Okay, here's my 6-inch square, and my task is just to cut this into 1/2-inch pieces because my little measurer there doesn't go on beyond 4 inches. I'm just going to cut this strip into 2 3-inch pieces and then cut it down into 1/2 inches from there. I do, in those that I have done, I do like to have my text going across so that my 1/2-inch strip gets all these little many bits of words from many different lines rather than it being a single line, because that could be a little distracting. I think visually this is a little more appropriate. There we go. So just 1/2-inch strips out of this 6-inch square. And how many strips will this give us? It will give us 12. There's the first half, and here's the second half. I'm doing this on Sunday afternoon, the day that almost a week before it's going to publish. I'm trying to get ahead a little bit because I feel like this could be kind of a chaotic week ahead, and I like the distraction of crafting right now. Plenty of other things to think about in the week ahead. And but anyway, this morning it was the return to standard time after daylight savings time, and of course I woke up early, as you do when we return to standard time, and I was looking on Pinterest, and I saw a version of this on, yeah, I guess it was Pinterest. And I'm going to put a link to the original poster of this. It was a post from 9 years ago by a card maker named Carrie. I've forgotten Carrie's last name, but I will find that link and put it in so that you can see her video, because it's a really good tutorial on how to do this. And I don't want you to think that I came up with this. I did not. She used scrapbook paper, which I also used in some of my demos, but I wanted to see how it worked with book pages, just to have that junk journal flair. And okay, I promise I'm going to give this one a rest. Anyway, I was there watching this video early in bed with the sound turned off. I'm going to take two together and pinch them in half because I want to mark that center. And I could hardly wait to get up and try it because I was watching it with the sound turned down, so I wouldn't wake Dan up. And I had a bunch of other things to do when I first got up, and then when I sat down to actually try it, oh, it was so exciting. And I did two of them all in the span of watching one Gail Augustinelli video, so you can tell they don't take too long. Okay, I've put my little fold here. Maybe I'll see if I can come in here a little bit. I put my little fold along one of these lines of graph paper. And, oh wait, here's the other one that I folded. I'm going to try to stop my jibber jabber for a moment so I can explain to you what I'm doing. Putting a little blob of ink there. And then I want to get this center right in the center of that 1/2 inch strip. And the graph paper really helps me to get that perfectly perpendicular, or as perfectly as you can in a non-factory setting. There we go. So we have this X. And I'm going to take another one. This one was on top of my horizontal strip, and this one is going to be below. I'm actually going to flip it over and put one on either side, but in the other direction, the other position from our center strip, our center square. Pull into the center square. Those of you who grew up in the U.S. and remember the wild popularity of Hollywood squares will get it when I say Paul into the center square. A fun game show. There we go. Now we have our one strip across, 3. This middle one is going over the center strip, and these two are going under. We're going to turn it this way, and you guessed it, we're going to weave these other ones in. This one that I'm pointing to goes over. So this one's going to go under. And this is just going to slide right in, and I want to nestle it just as close to its partner there as I can. And anchor them down in place. It's very easy to move them, so you have to kind of keep an eye on what you're doing. And it'd be a little bit easier to get this middle one. I'm just dotting with glitter glue. People always ask me about this. And I actually have my master bottle here. This is the brand is called Art Glitter. Art Glitter. It's glue that's made by the company called Art Glitter that apparently used to actually manufacture glitter at one time. They're known for their glue, and that's what I refill this into this bottle. Now let me do the other one. Again, not sponsored, just an enthusiast. This is going to come close in there, just weaving in. We're all familiar with the concepts of paper weaving. anyway, so I've basically been making these for several hours, and I loved it so much that I thought that's going to be this week's holiday craft. Let me do the other one, because before I do the next step, I want this middle part to be really dry. So let's go and do the center part again. I have two here that I'm going to fold gently just to mark their centers. And I'm going to get that lined up against a straight line of my graph paper. A little bit of this art glitter glue. Now, when I purchased the art glitter glue, it just has this plastic nozzle. It doesn't have the metal nozzle. That I buy separately. But wherever you buy your art glitter glue, whether it's on Amazon or I get mine from May Helms in Alabama. May made it. If she's still selling it, because it's a seasonal item, they won't ship it when it gets cold. So I hope you have enough to get you through the winter. Okay, this is on top. I'm going to flip this over because it's a little bit easier to get these side by side if I glue it on the other side. I hope that's explanatory. And when you do this, we're going to be doing a little bit of twisting of this paper in a moment. And so when you choose your paper for this project, do make certain it's not one that's really brittle, because you're gonna be heartbroken at the results, I'm afraid, if you choose a really, really old paper. This is a paper from the 1940s, but it seems to be one that has held up really well. It has a nice amount, it's not a real thin, like a dictionary page paper, but it's also not really brittle. So as music pages tend to be. And I don't know why that is. It's an eternal mystery to me. Okay, so we've turned it the other way. Dab, 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 a little bit of glue under there. This project, it looks intimidating, doesn't it? But the way Carrie described it, as I was there with my sleeping husband next to me, watching it in the early hours of this morning, I couldn't believe how easy it looked. I just couldn't believe it. There we go. So I got up and I did a few, I had to fold laundry and, all that mundane kind of stuff. Do some dishes from last night. And then I had my coffee with Gail Augustinelli and made these woven stars. Yeah, so Carrie is apparently, or was, I don't know if she still is, because I haven't checked anything else out on her channel, but she was posting this as a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and their paper works really nicely for this too. I will show you those in a minute. Okay, so we have two of these side by side. I can set my graph paper aside now. Which one? I think that's the one I just did. This one's the one that's more dry. Okay, now here comes the exciting part. Let me make certain I'm still in frame. Yeah, I'll try to keep it right about here. We have to decide which side we want to be a little more prominent in our star. So I think I'm going to go with the inked side being the one that's a little more visually prominent. So that means I'm going to have the white side, the side that's going to be my accent or my secondary side, is going to be facing up through this whole stage of the process. So we have a little trio of strips, 3, 3, 3, 3. I'm going to come to one. Yep, I like to start over here. I like to, my, batch size is like, 5 or something now. So I'm not an expert, but I've done a few. I'm going to take this one and twist it over this way. And this is my brown side. And I'm just going to put a little bit of glue here. And I'm going to grab this one and twist that also. Twist it very gently because you don't want to bend or fold your paper. That's why I was cringing when I was getting some wrinkles in it when I was doing my distressing, because I didn't want to be putting any folds in the paper. There we go. I've got a bunch of goopy stuff on my glue nozzle there. You have to hold it a little bit. I'm going to put just a little bit under there. But fortunately, art glitter glue grabs really quickly. Now, Carrie was using a Tombow. I think it's a Tombow glue. Oh, okay, so this is done. Then you come to the next trio. Start on the left and grab, or I'm sorry, start on the right here and then grab the leftmost strip here. I think Carrie, at most Stampin' Up! Demonstrators tend to use a Tombow glue. I don't think they use art glitter glue. They're careful about what adhesives and what products they put in their videos. Yeah, holding it just a little bit will help. All right. I'm going to come again and grab, and we're just leaving that strip in the middle. But the one that is opposite it comes this way. And we just put the corner, get it corner to corner there. You can see exactly how these come together. And we do this a fair amount. One more. And this one. I hope you can see beyond my big chunky fingers. Okay, this one that's as much as we're going to do with this one. We're going to set that aside for now. And we're going to do the same thing here. Twist it, put a little glue down, twist it gently. And just press it into place there. And you know, it seems like it's really fiddly, but you only have to do this 4 times. This is not a very thick paper, so it's nice and flexible, but it works nicely with card making paper too. I mean, the thinner kind. You don't want a thick cardstock because it would, it would crackle, or wouldn't bend in a gentle, graceful way. It would be a little cumbersome. But I did some that I'll show you with Stampin' Up's Designer Series paper, which is a nice lightweight scrapbook paper and card making paper. So don't use the really thick stuff. But I think this book page worked really nice, especially if you're going to just practice it. I mean, honestly, this one, guess you get to see it again. This was just my practice one. So does not take a lot of skill to do this. All right, here is our second side. I don't think I mentioned, I think that Carrie called this the woven star. All right, now we have 2 of these. Well, that was exciting. I need a glass of water here. All right. We have these 2. They should be dry enough because this is a very fast drying glue. What I'm going to do is flip one over and put it on top of the other one. And I'm going to take these little strips that are still sticking up. I'm going to put it through, tuck it in through this loop. I'm going to go one side and one side. And you know you're going to handle it gently. You're not going to hurt anything doing this. And then I'm going to go, and it's nice to do, and Carrie mentions this, and she's absolutely right. It's nice if you do the two, you're tucking through, do them on these opposite flaps, these opposite strips. Now I'm going to come here and tuck that in, and tuck this in. And you can see, this is why I wanted to have, to mark the paper with the ink. You see you have the uninked sides, the uninked side of the strip with the uninked side of this loop here. And the inked side of this strip is going to be on the ink side of that loop. Now I'm going to go through and I'm going to do the others. And some of them might come out. And guess what? You just put them back again. You show those paper strips who's boss. That's what you can do. Did I miss one? Just about. All right, now, guess what? We're almost done. We are almost done with this. This is so amazing. You can start anywhere here, but I've got one, this is all one strip underneath here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue the strip down to the little pointy loop that is below it. And I'm going to try to get that strip, the point here, I want to get about in the middle of that strip. Does that make sense? And I'm going to do the same here, and I'm going to kind of pull it. Oh, I see there was a little spot I didn't glue there. That's going to make a difference because I want everything anchored nicely there in the middle. Okay. Let's come back and take that opposite side and just kind of trying to get that glue there. And this, while this is a quick drying glue, it does help. You can nudge it just a little bit. There we go. So this is all in place. And I'm going to do the exact same thing here. Getting that point in the middle, kind of pulling it so it's taut. There we go. And then we're going to do the same thing with these others. It seems to be, you know, so the physics of how all of these papers are reacting to one another, they seem to react well towards anchoring things down on opposite sides. Your mileage may vary, but that's a good way to start anyway and see what works for you. A point in the middle. And what do we have left to do? This one. That little nozzle on the art glitter glue makes all the difference. You can get into little nooks and crannies and use just a little bit. Little dab will do ya. All right, friends. That's our construction. That's all we have to do. Now, the next thing we're going to do, I say that's all we have to do. Now we do something else. That's what we have to do as far as gluing and constructing. Now we're just going to trim and decorate. So you're just going to trim this little sticky outy part of your glued flap. Just clip that flush with your little pointed petal. Think of this as a flower or a star, but you know, the little point that you formed by twisting those strips. Just cut your excess even, and it's going to be very easy to see. I'm wondering if you're doing this along with me. I know some of my viewers do. You probably had to pause the video, get your coffee, get your book page or your decorative paper, get out your knife or your trimmer. maybe back up a little bit and watch it a time or two. But yeah, I hope you're having fun doing this. Look at this. There it is. Now here, I keep bringing this one in. Now this is the one, I think it looks really elegant with everything white, but it's really nice to be able to see that, that contrast there too. Let's decorate the front, and then we're gonna look at a couple of other ways that it looks if it's with more designer series paper or the decorative paper. I think a cluster would look really cute there. The first one I did, I had that little stamped circle. I think that looks just slightly out of proportion. If this was a slightly larger cluster, I think that would look great. So I think I'm going to get out, this is just a 1-inch punch, and I think I'm going to just punch a circle to put in with this little die cut piece, like a little miniature doily. And I'm going to ink these edges ever so gently. And I have a couple of very small, I think that's going to fit, very small stamps with holiday themes on them. And let's see how this looks. Merry Wishes. Yeah, that looks nice. I like using VersaFine ink for sentiments. I just think it gives a nice quality. Before I decorate the front, I think I am going to try to find my, oh, here's my distress ink. I'm going to ink a little bit of the edges very, very lightly. I think that will make just a nice bit of difference in these edges. How hanging on a tree, how beautiful will this be? Now, if you give it to a friend, you're gonna have to give it to them in a box or carry it really, really carefully to their place, because it's not one that's gonna look good squished up in an envelope. So, you know, think about its application. But I think it's worth the effort. I really do. I just love it. All right, here's our little Merry Wishes. And I think we're going to hang it from that petal. So before I actually put the embellishment on, I'm going to put a little hole reinforcer here. This is the scrap of gold paper that I cut those doilies out of. And I'm going to put one front and back on this little petal. And that's going to give a little bit of reinforcement for the string that we'll put in the back. So we've got three thicknesses of paper and this little bit of gold foil paper. That ought to be good enough. Bring in my hole punch. There we go. And I'm just going to put a little bit of twine through there, but I can do that later. You get the idea. And here we go. Oh, this looks so pretty. And I like the distressed look on that book page. There you go. Oh, isn't it nice? Isn't it nice? Let me show you a couple of other options. This is one that I did, and I haven't glued the embellishment on yet, but I did this out of this is a heavier, some Stampin' Up! Designer Series paper. They're, it's a thin paper, it's exactly what I was describing earlier. It works really nicely for this. And it does feel a little bit sturdier, not quite as delicate as the book page. So if you care to use that, I stamped out and did a little gold embossing of a little dragonfly. And I'm gonna just reach through and pinch down your. I think it'll look great with maybe some buttons or something like that, some bigger buttons. And there's just any number of different things you could do with it. There's that. And here's another practice one. This is the first one that I did with two-tone paper, and this is where I learned. If I were to do this over again, I would have made certain to have this dark blue be the main color, like I did with the purple here, rather than the white. But it's, it's fine. But I learned a little bit about where the color ends up. Here is one more. Let me see how we are on time. Yeah, I had time to finish this up with you. This started out as a poinsettia paper, and I cut it into strips. This is what it looked like when it was in its little woven X's. And then this is with everything pulled together, and I just want to anchor it down. So why don't we do that together? And you can get the idea of how a real Christmassy kind of, whoops, careful here. Oh, I worry so much about crushing these. They're in dangerous territory here on my craft desk. If you use a decorative paper, you will be able to tell the difference between that and a thinner book page, but gee, they're pretty. So this one, when I was doing the curling, I did that with inside my accent paper, which was the polka dot. The polka dot was face down, and then I did my little curling thing like this. So, all right, I stopped in mid glue there. There we go. Let me come on the opposite side. This is a good thing to do, a good project to do while you are watching a video, because you kind of do a lot of this holding in place. So you're going to have plenty of time to watch what's going on the screen. Kind of nudge that towards the middle. So we really, I didn't pause the video at all. We did this one, even with my jibber jabber, in 30 minutes. So you can see it's, it's not a super fast project, but it's not one that's going to take you all day. And there's no real waiting, there's, waiting while you're pinching the glue, but there's not, you don't have to wait for paint to dry or anything like that. Getting some glue on the new craft mat. And as I'm holding these opposite strips here, I kind of pull them a little bit as I'm pinching, so that I can get them stretched out as far as possible. And I wasn't paying a lot of attention to which one, the order I was doing these in, so I might not have been following my own advice to work on opposite ends. But I'm just so excited about them. Isn't this purple pretty? I love the dragonfly. There's really nothing Christmassy about that, but I kind of wanted to try something that that wasn't a true Christmas kind of motif, just to see how it looked, and I like the results. Okay, now, do I have all of them? I do. All right, time to trim. Do tell me if you plan to make these or if you're making them along with me. And what are you going to do with yours? Do you have a tree you'll hang them on? Will you give them as a gift? Take them to your friend's house? Take them with a plate of cookies to your neighbor? If you have a neighbor who's worth 30 minutes of your crafting time, I think they might be thrilled to get a beautiful little ornament like this. Again, I'm not following the order I should have. There we go. And I'm not going to do any inking on these. I think these might be cute, maybe with some little sparkles on the inside of those points. I don't know, but let's go ahead and finish this off. We're here. What did I do with? Oh, here's my little. That could be pretty there on that red. It's kind of an unusual one. Here's my larger punch. And here's my little punch. There we go. I'm going to get my little hole punch area prepped first, because that's going to inform the direction that I put my little sentiment on. Unfortunately, art glitter glue does dry clear, so if we have any that seeps out, that we don't get fully wiped away, none will be the wiser. We know, but we're not telling, right? I'm going to wait until that dries to punch the hole in. And there we go. And my VersaFine ink. And I have a couple of just tiny little words. I'm going to do joy here. We're going to hope there's joy ahead for us. It's always a good thing to wish for, isn't it? Oh, drop the glitter glue in. Oh, gee, these are pretty. I just love them. There we go. Hang a little thread through there. I wish you joy. I send my merry wishes, and I wish you joy. I hope you have fun with these. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.